Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
Hey guys, what's up? Amir Reiter here. Another episode of the Transform Sales Podcast, our software seller demo review series. I got Peter Redrin, founder of CoachTrigger, on the show today. Peter, what's up?
Hi, Amir. How are you doing? I'm doing fantastic.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just learning more about all the amazing people out there in the B2B revenue world and what they're building and why they're building it. And thank you for being on the show. For those that are listening, the people who typically listen to the show are B2B revenue buyers, whether it's CROs, CEOs, VP sales. We have a pretty big audience. Let's start it off maybe by you could maybe introducing yourself, the company, and maybe your background and how you came up with the whole idea to build CoachTrigger in the first place.
Yeah, sure. I will try to keep it short and sweet. It's a long story, but I will make it as short as I can.
I'll hit the shock button if you go too long.
I'll start to playing when I have 15 seconds left and I round it up. Joke aside. I'm originally from Sweden. I started as a sales representative in a media company when I was 23. Now I'm 55, so that's the maths. And after a few months, the owner of the company came to me and said, "Peter, why are you selling 3 times more than all the other 27 salespeople in the sales team? You have just been here for 3 months." Well, I said, "I don't know. I work like this," and I started to show him my kind of almost methodology I had pushed myself through to come to the point to be extremely efficient, time management, task management, scripting my own calls, and do the whole shebang. And I did it just for myself. And then he said, "Could you teach all the other salespeople to do this?" I said, "I'm 23. I've been here 3 months. The people you are working have been here somewhere between 1 year and 12 years, and they are much older than me. They're not going to listen to me." "Oh no," he said, "I'm going to make you sales manager and I'll give you the power of hire and fire. They have to listen to you or you fire them." I was like, huh? Okay. Slightly daunting mission. But anyway, so yeah, 2 months later, 6 were fired. And 3 years later, there were 14 salespeople instead of 28. And we sold 6 times more per person per week, month, quarter, so on. And during those years, I kind of chiseled out a methodology to coach people to individual highest possible performance that I call IPC. So individual performance coaching. It works extremely well when it comes to coaching salespeople, but actually it works on any kind of employee group. We are doing this today with sales teams and everything fine, but we can also do this with consultant teams or support teams or whatever. Wherever performance is lacking or productivity is not high enough, then we can do it. So
to recap, you were an expert. You were a naturally gifted, talented salesperson who had a methodology that you created. And once your boss asked you, how are you doing what you're doing? You showed a methodology, and he quickly empowered you to be a leader of the team, fire who needed to be fired. And you took your own secret sauce and you built it into a platform.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason why maybe I could figure out things pretty quickly is that the education I had before I started with this job was actually computer engineer. So, to see processes and make, the schematics of everything and to understand the flow and all that. So I kind of applied that on sales. Plus, I love people. I love sales. I love to explain people. I'm a good storyteller naturally since I was young. And yeah, so it made me into a very good...
By logic or emotion?
Both. I think you should be. If you don't have a strong personality, I don't think you can be a really strong salesperson. I think you need to have something that kind of people notice, remember, and the ability to be personal, I think, is extremely important in general. I think it doesn't matter if you're a salesperson or if you're a manager or if you are a person just talking to somebody in a bar. If you're seriously interested of talking to people, understand who they are, listen to them and figure them out, you're always good. And if you don't have that interest or that part of the brain is not switched on or whatever, you're not going to be successful as a salesperson, at least, and probably not very successful as a manager over people either. Yeah. So I think that's kind of basic stuff. And then I jumped ship 1998, which just tells you how old I am, and started my first little coaching and training company with my model. And I was talking to predominantly business owners of SME companies, 20 to 200 employees maybe. And I said, this IPC model, I showed them what it is, and I can do this with your employees. So we can probably get 10, 20, 30, 40% more productivity, and they will get happier, and they will be more motivated, and they will stay longer, and blah, 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 all the good effects out of that. And it turned out that I was very fully booked very quickly, and nobody had heard about it before.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, interesting. I have something going here. 10 years later, I had grown this company into 5 offices, 3 in Scandinavia, 1 in Berlin, 1 in London. I had over 80 full-time employed consultants in the companies running around doing the IPC model under my brand, and around 100 freelancers connected to it as well. So it became pretty large.
Yeah.
This was in the good old days. There were no platforms like CoachTrigger. The CRM systems were kind of getting there. And, there was just Excel spreadsheets and sending people PowerPoint presentations and PDF files. That was the only training material. There was no LMS platforms or nothing, So It was a big manual job to scale from just being myself up to that volume. And I was really proud of what we were doing. And then came the recession 2008.
The opportunity, a great opportunity for doing.
Yeah, maybe for somebody, but not for me. I had a big consultant company, performance coaching, sell more, and suddenly there was nobody to sell to.
Well, the story's not over yet, so we don't know how how CoachTrigger ends, right? Depending on your execution, man, it could have been a good thing or bad thing.
Well, I learned a good lesson. So the first thing that happened was that they threw us out, and then all our client companies started to throw their employees out. And I think we went out before the cleaning ladies, 100% sure.
What was the lesson you learned?
Yeah. So I had to put that whole company down in the beginning of 2009. There was no way. We lost over 70% of our revenues as a consultant company between September 2008 and March 2009. What was the
lesson you learned from that situation?
Don't take expensive offices and employ a lot of people long-term employed. That's the 2 things I learned. You cannot get rid of those 2 things very quickly without paying a lot of money for it. So that was kind of the reason why I had to put it down, because, in Sweden at the time anyway, the law said if you can see that you can't pay this thing, then you have to put the company into a controlled bankruptcy. Otherwise, you get privately responsible for the debts, which
it's a good lesson.
I didn't want to become that.
I have a good friend who actually unfortunately took his life last year, and without any warning, he was very financially successful, but he took an office that was like $40,000 a month. And I think that part of what happened to him was that what you just said, that he took on more than he could chew. So it's people don't talk about this stuff. So it actually is a good lesson to learn.
For me, it became a lifelong lesson, actually. And I have never done the same thing again. It was great for the ego at the time. And, before September 2008, we were great. We were profitable, stable. Everything looked good. But what happened 2008 and 9, especially in Europe, because in Europe we were very unprepared for the financial crisis. Maybe there was difference in the Americas, I don't know, but in Europe we were very unprepared, and it was almost like a force majeure situation. Nobody was complaining about anybody or anything. It just went the way it went. Anyway, so I spent 10.
I appreciate you sharing that. That actually is a good point. I'm not.
We all have backgrounds. I think many of the viewers, if they are 45 or more, they remember 2008 and 2009 in the business life.
I'm 30 and I remember it.
There you go. So anyway, that took me to another good project. 10 years I spent building up a company with online platforms, mobile apps, community platforms and stuff like that. So I didn't want to have anything to do with coaching and training anymore, because that was a big slap in the face what happened there. So I did something else. It went very good. I was more lucky that time, because in November 2019, an investment company bought the company from me. I sold it very well. And 5 months later came COVID.
Family office, private equity, family office, VC? Who bought you?
No, it was a angel investor actually. He had built and sold a few companies by himself, IT companies, and he and his business partner bought my
angel acquisitioner.
Yeah.
So tell me about Trigger in the sense of like, you know, what could people do now with your platform, but that they couldn't do before, and you know that could obviously just be your methodology baked into the system. But is there like talk to me about like before CoachTrigger and after, like what can people do now that they couldn't do before with your platform?
I mean, you're right. I built CoachTrigger with my IPC model as a methodology inside the platform. So it's simple. It's a SaaS platform. The coach has a dashboard on the screen of the computer where the coach can see exactly what everybody he is coaching, what they are doing, what they are not doing. There's a messaging system between the coach and the coachee. So the coachees or the employees that are getting the coaching, receiving the coaching, they download our mobile app and log in, and then they have a tailor-made IPC screen because we make a survey with all employees, so they have actually answered 18 IPC questions, and we know, okay, this is the answer from this person. Now we have to do this with this person for the next 1, 2, 3 months to get that person to up to the performance level that this person could have instead of what they are having today. And everybody gets both each employee, each team, and the company. We present actually after we make the survey in the beginning a percentage of what kind of performance level do you have in your people currently towards what they could be performing and the productivity level that is possible. So, and it's funny, you know, when we do this, that's the first step we do with a new client. We make the survey, we map the managers. Managers have ideas. I want my people to be better at this. Okay, fine, thank you. Now we have that list. Then we have the survey with the people, and they have their input to us. And that compiled becomes the performance scoring of the company today. And then we show that report, and we do this step for free. So that's a consultant report we make for free. So the new client can see this is your situation today. You are on 52, 61. The highest score we ever had was 72% out of 100%, which would then be the potential performance.
So if I'm listening correctly, sorry, I don't want to keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
I thought you paused.
So the platform is based on the IPC model, which is actually a daily communication between the designated coach and the designated coachee. Okay.
Yeah.
And we do that through texting in the mobile app that the people download. So it's actually all based on texting, not video meetings, not classrooms, nothing. We text with the people because it turns out that where we are today, people text with other people 80% of the communication they do, and they talk around 20% of the communication they do. So texting and coaching people via texting inside our platform has been a super successful case for us.
So if I'm listening correctly, you're basically, so I didn't mean to cut you off because I just wanted to slow it down for the audience so I can break down what you're saying, because I also asked you, I said, what could they do before with your platform? What did they do before your platform? What can they do now with it without, right? And if I'm listening correctly, and you'll get a demo opportunity, in the past, a company can go buy an LMS. They can buy a sales hood or this or that. There's so many of them. But then they would have to implement a methodology inside it, hire employees to operate it, hire coaches, right? Almost like a do-it-yourself platform. And if I hear you correctly, your CoachTrigger is a done-for-you platform as a service where the methodology is baked in, the technology is baked in, and the actual coaches belong to your company, and a company can be faster, cheaper, and more efficient and execute your methodology without having to hire staff or implement an LMS or do all that, right? So you're more of a done-for-you real-time coaching platform than in the past, do-it-yourself. Is that correct? Am I reading it the right way?
You understood everything correctly. That's exactly.
If I didn't understand, I'd fire myself, man. This is my job.
I couldn't have explained it better myself, actually, because that is correct. So, example, let's say we have a client, they have 20 salespeople or whatever kind of people they have. And then we make the preparation survey, set up the coach trigger, put in designated coach to each person, and then we start. And it's a super simple price model. We charge $60 per employee per month. So that's the price point.
All right.
And it's our platform, it's our coaches. We connect with the people through the mobile app, and there we go. And from the first week to the fourth week of the first month, we normally always present minimum 10% increase in productivity already the first month. And the platform also have, importantly, since you have an audience, the platform has a report system. So the managers on the client side have their logins, they can follow, see how everything is going, the curves start to go up, and everything is there.
When you said 10% gain, did you mean 10% increase in closing rate, 10% increase in actual sales activities? What did you mean in that moment?
Depends. You know, as well as your audience know, you can have a fast selling product or service that maybe every salesperson sell 5 or 10 per week. Of course, then inside the first month, you can see incremental sales results, increase invoicing. Yeah. But many of the clients we work with, they don't have that. They have maybe 3, 6, 12. I mean, the longer sales process you have, the more productivity problems you normally have because you don't see it. You know, it's kind of hidden in the CRM system, and everybody say, yeah, but I have these 24 clients in pipeline, and they are in step 3 and 4. And then 6 months later, realize this guy's not closing anything. And then 12 months later, bloody hell, nothing happened. So then you lost a year with that problem, right?
You got to get Salesforce. They just lost $42 billion last night, 16% drop. And Mark Benioff said that part of their thing they're going to do is take a deep look at their sales pipeline, which actually just meant kind of what you were saying, where they have a lot of lost opportunity.
It's interesting you mentioned his name. We have a lot of very happy Salesforce using clients. They were not so happy when we came, but when we came and we fixed it, then they're happy because we even get Salesforce. We even solve with our coaches and our daily IPC coaching. We even get everybody to fill in the CRM system correctly, which is a huge problem in many companies. You know, if your staff, if they don't fill in everything they're doing, then your reports are wrong, which means your forecast is going to be wrong, and you don't know anything.
Yeah, I agree. So bad input, bad outputs.
Even that is something we managed to implement with this daily IPC coaching model. And we if the company can provide us with some kind of training material, we can even make sure that people go through training modules and stuff for them, you know. So because implementation of systems, routines, platforms, knowledge, everything, people throw that to normal salespeople and think that they're going to do it themselves. And we all know that's not going to happen.
The guys who do it itself end up being CEOs like you and me.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you give 20 salespeople, say, go through this online thing on your own time and learn all this and implement it in your workday, please. Yeah.
Talk to me about your 80-20 rule. And I know that this is going to be a hard answer to question because you want to help everybody. And it's you know, so I want you to pick the 80-20. If there's one cohort of people, an industry, a location, a product, you know, what is that 80-20 rule? And I will remind anybody listening that when I ask Peter this question, it does not imply that he can't help you if you're not in that cohort of 80-20. I'm just trying to extract that 80-20. So let me know what that looks like for you guys. What are your best clients?
I think our best clients is a company that has a decent or at least half decent structure that people are working after. There is a management that is there and that is at least half decently active with the people, with the employees. And then we come in and we can just better that situation dramatically. If, let's say we have a client which are actually pretty good at it. They're pretty good with processes. They have done the effort of making sure that the processes are in place and people are following them and they are good management, and the management actually spends time with the people and make sure that they are motivated and so on and so forth, then we can still make 10-20% difference. But then there's some cases that even we can't fix.
Yeah, I don't want you to get out of 80-20, because I understand why you say what you said. They have it's like somebody who's got a cake half baked, and your platform comes in and allows them to do it faster, cheaper, more efficient to bake the cake. And that makes sense to me, right?
So the 80% that we work with very successfully are either, before we came around, they were half decent or decently decent.
Makes sense.
And then that works for us. We have the 20 rule. If you mean 20, these guys we can't help, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, but then, talk about those guys. Well, we talked about the guys you can help. You can tell me who you can't help if you want to.
Yeah, I can tell you, because for me that was the 80-20 grid, because 80% of the companies, the 80% of the companies of the world we can help, but 20% we can't. And that is where there has been a history of long-term, almost non-existing management. Everybody in the company do whatever they like. They've never really done a proper report, and it is like really like freedom and responsibility, and I hope you're going to make some money for me. But you know, if it has been like that for some years, then we are out. We do the report and we do that
of burning and churning, right? If they're not your client, right? If their methodologies get them in, get them out fast.
The problem is that when the owner or the manager of that company who has that situation going on for a number of years tell us and tell their people, okay, now we're going to do this with CoachTrigger, download the app and communicate with them, they just refuse. They just don't want to do it because
remote or on site. Who would be a better client? A company that has a remote sales team, or a company that has an on-site sales team, and why?
I would say for us it doesn't matter, but the on-site sales teams sitting in an office, management is there and they run around and they talk to each other every day. They are quite good at IPC, although they never thought that this was IPC, but they do communicate daily. The manager and the salespeople are having a chat and discussing this and that, and that is actually a manual kind of IPC without the CoachTrigger platform, so to speak. So they are normally quite good. We can still help them to squeeze maybe 10-20% increase of their performance and the productivity of their team members. There, in those companies, we normally are quite good at making people happier at the workspace, more motivated, stay longer. Companies like that sometimes have a high churn rate of people starting and disappearing, and we can slow down that process so people stay longer, they get all those benefits, and we can probably raise the performance and productivity a little bit. But when you look at traveling salespeople or remote salespeople or people on the move in general in sales, that's where the big gains are to win, because in those cases, many company managers struggle to understand, how am I going to make sure that these people are actually doing a really great 8 or preferably 10-hour day? You lose the control, and that's just the way it is, and it's been like that for always. So there's nothing new. But there comes the cases where we can increase over 3 to 6 months, maybe 30, 40, 50% performance and productivity and results. So
do you have a sweet spot when it comes to the size? Like do you see like 20 to 100 employees, 100 to 500, 1,000? Where's that sweet spot? Go ahead.
If we talk about the total number of employees in the company, if that's what we're talking about, not only the number of salespeople, then I would say that the sweetest spot is somewhere between 20 to 500 employees.
Makes sense. And I think whenever I say that, there's always a given that there's a ratio of salespeople per company, right? So, maybe you have 20% in sales. I don't know what that ratio is. I should ChatGPT it.
But because in those companies, the owners are still quite active, and that's when these kind of things are still,
so your best fit clients are also where the owner is active with the sales team and the owner is involved.
Yeah, I don't know a bit with the sales team, but at least in the company in general, there's some owner or owner group who are actually in operational activity still in the company. When you go bigger, then everything you have are different kind of employed managers in all the levels that you have.
You get all of bureaucracy.
And then it's a little bit like, internal politics and policies and people's managers who are maybe a little bit afraid of getting caught out, not have done so good job with their employees and stuff like that start to come to the table, which is a bit of a, not a stopper, but it breaks things a little bit. And but we have the largest company we work with today is 1,200 people we are coaching. They are actually more employed, but that's the people they have set us to do the IPC coaching with. We are currently entering a process with one of the 4 largest German car manufacturers. I'm sure everybody respects that we are not allowed by NDA to say who, but there are only 4, so it's one of them. And they are 600,000 employees. So we don't mind working with larger companies. It's just that the process are very slow, and the political game behind the decisions to deploy us or not are very...
Yeah, your sweet spot's our sweet spot. The companies that work best with our marketplace are, 20 to 500. So it matches, right? And we have,
and Amir, I don't know exactly the percentage, but I'm sure that minimum 95 or more % of the companies in the world are smaller than 500 employees. So
I agree.
It's an enormous market. I don't mind if the large corporations don't use us, as long as those between 20 and 500 get to use what we can help them with, And
I'm going to ask you. Keep going. No, I cut you off.
What we are talking about, what we are doing, we are adding that profitability in the company. So that's why our concepts are less interesting the bigger the company is, because the managers we are dealing with, they don't care so much about how much the owners make in profit. But when the owners are kind of still operational around, they care if this means that the same amount of people can produce 20, 30, 40% more profit per year, I'm in. That kind of situation.
Well, it definitely matters for publicly traded companies, right? So I think that's also one caveat to add. I'm going to ask you to share your screen and do a demo in 2 seconds. I'm going to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
How do people typically measure your success? And I'm assuming that it's an increase in an efficiency in sales metrics, but is there like something that is just the common ground where this is how we're measured on success?
Well, I think that's very individual how companies reason. Is it the activities we are focusing on? Because we know that if everybody has a high volume of activities and a good conversion rate, the money will come. Or if it's, like I said, if it's a little bit more fast moving business, then of course they are very focused on weekly, monthly reporting, and they can react on somebody not selling as much as they like in the space of a week.
Is there any pattern you've seen on the averages, like of the 500 clients? This happens to be like just they typically measure success on like increased close rate or shortened sales cycle, and it doesn't have to be an answer. I'm just trying to pry for one. Don't feel like there has to be one.
No, actually, I wouldn't say that there's a majority anywhere of what you're asking for. I think we see clearly some companies are activity focused, some companies are conversion percentage focused, some people are quality focused, if you would say, like don't put the wrong clients into the pipeline because we have a 6, 12, 18 month process. So then quality check on what leads actually goes into the sales funnel is super important, because whatever clients we put into the CRM system today is going to lead our future in 2 years, 3 years time, so you have to choose your clients very wisely. Which ones do you start putting this expensive sales process on if it's a long sales process? And especially if it's a wrong client, maybe we can make $100,000 revenue per year on them. And if the right client, same amount of sales work, same amount of effort, same amount of time, suddenly you can make 5 million in yearly revenue on them. So
would it be safe to say that clients measure success with your platform typically based on the main pain point as to why they bought the platform in the first place? Meaning, like, if a client had a feeling that his sales team had low activity and that's kind of where they got the interest to look at CoachTrigger, that they typically would measure your success on that metric. So typically it's like the input that causes the output in that question.
I would say there are 3 most common reasons why we start working with a new client. 3. 1 is that they feel that the activity levels are too low. 2 is that they have people are not following the internal routines and funnel systems or whatever they have decided. And 3 is that they see that they have some kind of problem with their conversion rate. That's the 3 most common reasons, and then comes all the other ones as well. We do have clients who come to us for the sole reason that they have problems with keeping the staff, and we are quite good to increase that kind of value, those kind of values, because I think a positive side effect of CoachTrigger IPC coaching when we do it with the employees is that they like to go to work more. And since the company has given them this support through CoachTrigger and your dedicated coach inside CoachTrigger, they are more loyal to the company. They stay longer. They recommend people to go there. You get that thing going. And if you haven't got that, yeah, because right. I would say you're going to see in the show. I'm not going to bore anybody with a long demo. I'm just going to show a little bit quickly on the screen how it looks like. But we focus on, yes, there are the hard, what do you call them, key performing activities, that you need to do. Otherwise, nothing will happen. And then you have what we call the soft performance values. How is your time management? How is your task management? How much positive energy do you feel today? What kind of problems do you occur? All these kind of soft values, which is highly impacting a person's performance level. It's not only book more meetings, make more calls. That's
part of your methodology.
That's not really the right coaching, because the reason why this person is booking too few meetings, it may be something completely different.
It's time management.
And of course, or there can be mental health issues, problems at home, bad relationship with a manager, a colleague that I'm fighting with, or whatever. Yeah. And suddenly the performance goes down. It can be, we have 18 soft points we are checking with everybody we work with. Take away all the key performing activities that our clients want them to do better in.
Makes sense.
So that's why we are calling ourselves a coaching platform, and our coaches are actually coaches, because if you don't want to solve those issues with your employees, it's not going to make a big difference. You need to solve the basic problems that is making a person not performing correctly. And normally it's not because they are stupid, and it's not because they are not working 8 hours, and it's not because they don't know what to do. It's something else.
Yeah.
They can improve those basic skills, of course.
I'm trying to dig deeper with you. Yeah. You do that to the coaching. Are you ready for the demo?
Why not? If you are, I am.
I'm ready. For those listening, this is not going to be the last time we have Peter on the show. So this demo is going to be more just general, high level. But I'm pretty confident that we'll have him back on and go into specifically how this could be used for sales agencies. We have a huge community of those. We'll get granular. We'll keep it general.
And all your viewers can know that we are very generous with discovery periods. We do a lot of one-on-one live video demonstrations to interested managers and stuff. So no worries. How many minutes do you give me?
One viewer, by the way, his name is Steve Burden. I think you know him. He's the only fan. What do you think about Steve and his agency?
Steve is a great guy. I know him more as Steve Burton, the person, and Steve Burton, the person who has a lot of people in his network and things like that. I haven't really been involved too much in what he's doing with his agency, although I know what they are doing. I know they are winning quite a lot of prizes, I see.
They have one of the higher LTVs, so lifetime value, and I can't give the exact numbers, but it does seem that when a company has a $50,000 AC above or more, relies heavily on the phone channel, they just don't churn them. And that's an industry where churning is common. So they are one of the top performing agencies, and he is a great guy and a great father. And shout out to Steve Burden for just being awesome and helpful. He sends his regards. Let's do this demo. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But
how many minutes do you give me?
Here's in Majorca. You guys should go visit the island of Majorca. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I moved here in 2009 after that controlled bankruptcy I just told you about a little bit earlier. So that made me say, okay, now I have nothing. I have a good bank account. I'm moving, and I wanted to be in the
awesome.
Very nice. And it's a lot of me living here, actually, a lot of international entrepreneurs and company owners, because our airport is extremely well connected. We can fly anywhere direct, and it's a very nice place to live.
What's the airport? It's was it Malaga?
Well,
Malaga?
No. Mallorca is an island outside Barcelona.
Yeah,
straight out in the
but
sea.
Malaga is like the main hub.
Yeah, so Palma de Mallorca is our capital in this island, and that's where the airport is.
What's warmer?
Marbella is in the south of Spain, very close to the
Gibraltar,
Strait to Gibraltar and the Strait of Morocco and all that. Yeah.
I was at Tariq. It was very windy. What's warmer, Sweden, your home, or Mallorca?
Forget about it. I mean, in Sweden, we are built for plus 25 to minus 25, and it's more close to minus 25 than plus 25 most of the year. So that's kind of Sweden. And Mallorca is the coldest evenings we have here are 4 or 5 degrees, and then in the daytime 15, 16, and then when the summer comes, we have 6-7 months where we are 25 to 35 degrees every day. So it's
sounds like you're winning, man. I like it.
Oh yeah, I'm the winner, absolutely. Maybe Sweden was a loser as well when I left. I don't know about that, but I don't know. A winner. I feel like a winner living here anyway.
I got a good friend from Sweden. It's Carl. He's the CRO of GetAccept. You probably know him. Yeah. He's a very nice guy.
No, I don't know. I've heard about the company, but I don't know Carl. Yeah.
I'll connect you guys. He's an awesome person.
There's a lot of people in the world I still don't know. I promise.
I'll introduce you to 2 new people this year.
Fantastic.
That's my commitment.
Fantastic.
My commitment to you. Let's do this demo.
Yeah. So I don't know how many minutes I have, but I will make a short one.
Okay? You got plenty of time.
Okay. You can just ask questions whenever you like. I need to share my screen, I guess.
Yeah, you can share your screen, and I'll put it up there. There's a little plus button. And for anybody who wants to stream their podcast, you could use StreamYard like us. It's awesome. We like it.
Shall I click on present?
You shall.
Present. It's the first time I'm doing this in StreamYard, actually.
Maybe it won't be the last.
Yeah. Well, share screen. Now we're getting somewhere. There we go. So you see my screen?
I do.
Okay. So this is 2 screens, actually. Here I have a little bit of an impersonation of the mobile app that the coachee, the employee, is working in. And here is the coaching dashboard that the coach works in. Okay.
Just to listen, so
if you
used by
the
mobile
employee app, then we sorry?
The app, the actual employee being coached uses the mobile mostly, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah. So this is we have a mobile app in both the stores. So you, depending on if you have an Android and iOS, you download the CoachTrigger user app, and then we give you a login, and then you log in, and there is your tailor-made screen. So everybody have a tailor-made screen with 1 activity log and 1 question field. And this is how we create a tailor-made situation for each person individually we are coaching. So these screens never look the same, hardly. Some of them look the same, but they have different targets maybe. And yeah, it's a totally tailored screen that each person have in the mobile app. So it fits 100% to what they are doing and what we have found out through the survey and through the manager mapping that we need to help this person with. So it's very, very individual. You can invite users here when you are in the coaching dashboard. You can create teams. You can create what activities and questions and stuff you want to have on each person's mobile phone. We have a ranking report. We have different kind of development report. This is the kind of reports that the managers are staring at in our platform. Here you can see one person's development curve, for instance, and you can do this by person or by team. So you can actually see 5 or 10 or 20 people's curves and compare how their development curve looks like. So this is the kind of reports we give to the managers that we are working with. And then the employees, then they fill in a summary end of day. So they open the app, fill this in every day, and write us some text and stuff. And then our coach see that in here on the coaching screen. So this is actually the same information you saw on the mobile app. This is how our coaches see this. So then we can look at this person or yesterday, we can look at on a weekly basis.
I ask a quick question.
We can analyze how this person is moving towards their targets, and yeah.
From what it looks like too, it also seems like an interface where a sales team normally would have daily KPIs filled out, where this kind of also uses that activity of reporting KPIs, it uses those as the coaching events, so that it's almost like, hey, let's grab this information in real time in a way that's natural to the sales rep, and then we'll process it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's a mix of these harder activity targets that their managers needs them to meet, and the softer things that we know have to do with lack of performance. So it's a mix of that, which makes that the people we work with, the employees, the salespeople, they love to fill this in and communicate with us, because we care about all those soft factors that are disturbing them. And for some people, it's the first time somebody care about that.
Yeah.
And everybody, as you can see here, have their average performance. So this is actually a barometer on all the targets on what they are reporting to us. So this is actually the general performance of this person right now. And this report that I showed you here, for instance, to the managers, this is actually based on that. So this actually, you can see when a person is having down or up or stable situation with their performance, and in what kind of percentage. In this case, you can see there that Patrick has 81% performance, which is not bad. It is not top, but hell, that's not bad. And so we are working a lot on focusing on all these different details that creates the overall super performance, which you don't see in the 90%, 91% towards target achieved or more or better. Red falling behind, yellow in the middle. So it's very easy for us and for the people who are working with us to see where they are. So look at here, this is actually the salesperson screen, and they can actually see, wow, I met my target on booked meetings. I have an issue that many of my meetings get canceled, so I have too few meetings, right? And then it's red and it says 40% here towards the weekly target. The number of quotes and offers sent, okay, in the middle. I actually made quite a few orders, probably because I had been working quite a long time with them, and now they have been closing in, right? Administration hours is a big problem in many sales forces, that for some reason there's too much admin time getting lost instead of client time. We measure that. Positive energy level is a super important thing for us to measure the whole time. You can just imagine, we are asking always, the question is, every day, between 1 and 10, how do you feel today? 9, 10 is where we want them to be. And if they're lower, directly our coaches react and say, okay, what happened yesterday? Why were you a 5 or a 6 or 7 yesterday? And people are very quick to answer why. And then we try to help them solve whatever issues they are taking down their positive energy level. Because we all know, if we don't have 9 or 10 on the positive level scale salespeople, they are going to be lower performing than what they should be. That's the end of that story, you know. So, and we can involve whatever kind of things here in these logs and in the communication between us and then. So this is the messaging platform we have included. So I'm the coach, and I can text my feedback to the end of the report and text backwards and forwards during the day with each person through our own communication platform inside the mobile app of the coachee and here for the coach. And
is there any way to integrate that with Slack for anybody listening?
Sorry?
Is there any way to integrate that with Slack for anybody who's listening to like push the messages?
No. This is so sensitive, private coachee communication. It's GDPR safe platform. Nobody can see it except from the coach and the coachee. If that wasn't the case, nobody will communicate with us with this sensitive stuff.
No, you're right. People are not comfortable on sometimes being honest about their issues. If I was a sales leader looking at this now and I used HubSpot or Salesforce, how would this interact with my tools?
Well, the thing is that we have two ways of doing this. Normally, we work standalone. So the mobile app of CoachTrigger is in the phone of the salesperson. They do their daily doings in their platforms that the company has told them to work in, and we communicate with them here. So it's totally separate. So we are focusing on performance and get the performance up. CRM systems is where people are logging what they do with the client and texting and whatever was said on that meeting and pushing people through pipelines and stuff like that. But we are 100% focused on this. Now, we have just installed an AI-based platform. So now we can connect to any of these CRM systems. We cannot take the data from it, but we can show statistics from a client's CRM system inside CoachTrigger, because it is important to make sure that the people are filling in the platform correctly with their activities, right? And if they don't do that, which is actually normally the case, most salespeople are trying to fill in as little as possible in the CRM system. I think we all know that. But then they get a big problem for the company and the management of the company, because there are clients in different stages and it's not correct. People have not updated where the client is in the process or what they have done with them or whatever. People quit and somebody new comes in, and how do you take over 100 clients if the previous salesperson did not fill in and update everything correctly, right? And then also the reports from the CRM system. The most CRM system have good reports platforms, so they don't need to connect with us to get better reports, even if that's what we can do. But the data is not correct. And we can coach and we can compare them together with each person. Are they filling in everything? If they're not, we make sure they do, because then that data shows in CoachTrigger and it's collected from the CRM system. We don't take client data and sensitive data, just so anybody understands that.
Yeah.
We do see the statistics. Instead of people filling in manually what they have been doing during the day, again, in CoachTrigger, it comes automatically from the CRM system. And then we can see, and then people say, oh, well, that's not correct. Well, then go back to the CRM system and fill it in. Oh, okay. And then they do that. And, oh, now it's correct. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You know?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And I definitely like the fact that it's...
Yeah. So we have that. We didn't have that until, it was just over a month ago. We can actually connect through the platform we installed in our server, so we can actually connect to all.
I've never been a software platform that does not continuously evolve. So I'm sure I talk to you in a year from now, it might push some stuff to HubSpot or Salesforce. But right now, I completely understand what you're getting in. It's a very focused platform, and it's got sensitive information, and it's not meant to track deals. It's meant to coach the sales activities you're looking to close the gap on, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like what people are working with and filling in CRM system goes from left to right in an Excel, and what we are doing, we are going from bottom and up in that work, so it is a little bit different. But anyway, and then we have a course editor, so you can make, it's like we have our own LMS platform inside here, so you can and then
how was your methodology, correct?
Yeah, so here you can actually create the same kind of course and training modules as you can in Kajabi or whatever LMS system is doing this. Our clients let us put all their training material here, then we can present it as training material in the mobile apps to the people we are coaching and training, make sure they do it, because then they are connected to the student monitor button here, and we can then see which one of the people in the company has done what training and did they fail or pass the test, and we can make sure they do it until they pass the test, right? So that gives us as coaches a situation where we can actually help the company pushing through training, product knowledge, or how to work with this CRM system, whatever it is. If there is some kind of good training modules that we can put in here, and we can then push it towards the people we are coaching, and then we can make sure that they take that information, learn it, and actually apply it in their daily workday. Yeah. Doing actually, if you
all makes sense. Talk to me about where people do you guys offer. Yeah, I think that's good for today. But my question is, my question would be for anybody who's interested in trying it out. Obviously, we have we have you guys listed on our marketplace. They can check it out there. Are there any free trials that you guys offer? How do people typically work with you guys?
Absolutely. I told you we have very, very generous discovery periods, which is free of charge. So you get demos. We can do the mapping of the manager's opinions, what needs to become better in the company. We can do the survey, and we can do the whole report of all that. And we do all that for free, and we show them how we have set up the platform, and the client don't have to pay $1 for that. If
you guys do a pilot offer, You guys do a value, a use case and a value proposition as a pilot, which is great.
Some consultants don't like that we do all this for free because they actually charge $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour to make this kind of surveys and reports. But we do it for free because we need to know this. Otherwise, we don't know how to put the CoachTrigger system to do the setup and what is actually the problem with everybody in this, what is the situation in this company. And we don't want to start anything until we know that. So we want to do that. And the clients are very happy we do this. So they know everything, the clients, before they start paying us $1. And then if they want us to start doing it, then it costs $60 per person per month. And that's a flat fee. And that's it, So we normally go to the next stage is that the clients sign up to do 1 month and they have to pay for it, but it's a 1 month, no long-term contract. And then during that month, they can see how this is working. They can follow the reports and they can see how much percentage gain on performance and productivity that we can create in just 1 month. And then they can decide if they want to continue or not. And not even there we sign any long-term contract, because when they continue after the first month, it's actually a subscription model with 30-day notice period. So you just have us as long as you want us, and when you don't want
contract, proof of concept, trial.
Yeah. And if you don't want us to continue, we have 30 days to wrap it up, hand over and whatever, and then we're gone.
Awesome. Peter, this has been awesome. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Transform Sales Podcast. We're on episode 150, so I don't even know. Peter, if somebody wants to connect with you on social media, follow you, learn more about your concepts before maybe a pilot, where's the best place to check you guys out?
I can tell you, I'm so easy. There's only one Peter Redrin in the whole world. It's ridiculous. I can't hide anywhere. If you search anywhere, Peter Redrin, there's a LinkedIn. It's only one. My father decided when I was 14 years old that we should change the surname because we had in Sweden, my father was an immigrant and we were not treated well in Sweden because of the surname we had. We kids in school, kids are pretty cruel in school, if you didn't know. and so my father changed into a name that nobody had, and still we are the only ones. So Peter Redrin, search anywhere, you find me, connect with me, send me a text. I'm happy to chat with anybody. And I think my whole philosophy of doing this with CoachTrigger is that we don't force anybody to do anything. If you want to have a meeting, we have a meeting. If you want us to do the free discovery, we do the free discovery. If you want us to continue, we do that. And if you're not, we are fine. We have so many clients to work with, and we have so much traction in what we're doing. We are super happy to do it this way. And some people say, Peter, maybe you shouldn't be so generous with all this free stuff. And I say, oh, why not? We can afford it. So why not? I think, and it's also something which is very important to understand, I think. And I think your listeners, when they've been listening to this, they feel this is a sensitive area we walk into. It is actually sensitive for the managers. Who are we and what are we going to do with their salespeople or their staff or whatever? And what is this CoachTrigger? What is this IPC model? And they want to feel safe before they present something to the staff and the people in the company that they are actually going to do. So I think this is actually the way to do it. You need to be generous with a good discovery period for free with clients in these kind of areas. And if you can't do that, maybe you have the wrong business model. We have obviously the right business model because we can economically afford it and we love it and our clients love it. And many of our affiliate partners that we have love it because it's kind of no risk to recommend us to have a meeting with us because we're not going to do that anymore. Yeah. I mean, in the worst case scenario for a new client, you're going to get the report done, loads of knowledge about what's wrong and what you can do about things in the company. Yeah. And if you don't want to do it with us, you had a free report. So that's the worst thing that can happen.
It's a strong offer. It's a valuable offer. I like it. I mean, you have an offer, and they could use your platform to solve problems or solve it any way they want, but they get the offer, right? And I think that's the right way of doing it. Thank you again for being a guest. I'm going to let you go, and we'll be in touch. And hopefully people find a lot of value in what you're building and they can work on increasing some of those metrics so that they can be more efficient, because efficiency is the way to go.
Great, Amir. I'm so happy you invited me to this talk. And thank you, everybody, for listening.